have the Indianapolis Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let me hit you with the projections right now. Rivers, I think he's going to have a good year. I'm a hold on him this week. You can find better elsewhere. So I'm a sit on Rivers definitely. Although in daily fantasy may be worth, if your budget's low or something, you need a quarterback, might be worth some juice there. Especially Jacksonville rebuilding that entire freaking defense and their entire roster. What the big question here? Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack. If you believe the press, Marlon Mack's getting the snaps. Jonathan Taylor, if you believe the tape and what you saw in college, you got to think Taylor's going to be involved. To me, it's a big question mark. The starting running back here, whoever gets, I think both are startable. I guess my projection is Marlon Mack, and that is a guess because we got to see it in action. Tyreek Hill is startable. I think Paris Campbell, for me, is slightly upgradable over Pittman Jr., but we'll see what happens there. Doyle, for me, is a definite start. If you're hurting a tight end, he's a guy that you might want to take that flyer on if you have deeper rosters. Jacksonville, Minshew, I actually think is a start. I like this Indy defense, but I think a lot's going to be routed through Minshew. I like Minshew. I like Chark as starts. Chark, I think, is going to have a big week. Running back, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen at running back. I actually have bad projections on them anyway. I like Indy's run defense. And I don't like tight end, although Eifert is a guy that, if you're hurting at tight end, could pop in this system. He has a history with Gruden. He had a nice year last year in Cincinnati. Could be a good mesh point for the two. Take it away, David.
The one name you said, that Jonathan Taylor, man. I'm putting all my chips in, all right? I've already gone on record saying Jonathan Taylor, he's rushing for 100 yards and a touchdown week 1. I think the Jonathan Taylor rookie season fanaticism, I think it's all completely well-founded, and I think it's going to start week 1. You talk about Jacksonville, that Jacksonville defense, man. Last year, Jonathan Williams, week 11, he had 13 carries. He took them for 116 yards. Jonathan Williams, Jonathan, I don't know. Am I sensing a connection here? Jonathan Williams?
Running backs named Jonathan against
Jacksonville. I don't know, man. I'm not superstitious, but there might be something there. I'll say this. I think you make a good point with Rivers because I do think Indianapolis is going to be playing from ahead. They have 2 running backs. They're going to want to let Rivers settle in. They're not going to ask him to do too much. I don't think he's a good target. Even against a bad Jacksonville defense, don't get suckered into that narrative that Rivers is going to go off. You talk about Minshew and Chark. Every week. Let's just start with this week, and then next week we'll do it again. Every week you're probably going to be paying for these guys because they're playing from behind basically every week, and I don't think it's a bad matchup. I don't think there's going to be a cornerback on the Colts who can shut down DJ Chark.
Yeah, and back to that running back distribution, we'll see. But running back 1, which is the lion's share of the carries, guys, you could think of it as a first and second down running back. Projected as the 3rd overall running back scorer in terms of my analytics coming back. Again, we'll see what happens. I'm very curious. And then I'm personally curious to see what happens at tight end. I'm a big buyer in Jack Doyle. Is he this year's Darren Waller, guy you can get in the last round and could be a top 10 fantasy football tight end? We'll see, but I'm curious to see kind of what the early returns are. Let me hit you with the over-under here. Indianapolis minus 7.5 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's more than a touchdown. What do you think?
Well, let me say one more thing because I forgot to mention it too. You talked about the Jacksonville running backs. James Robinson, he's the guy you want. You can get him with the last spot on your bench. Don't spend a pick on Raquel Armstead or Divine Ozigbo before the last round. Just wait for James Robinson. He's by far the best athlete of that running back group. He's been getting some recognition from the coaches. I think I'm avoiding it altogether, but he's got the athleticism to actually hit, I think, and maintain value season long. James Robinson. If you're in a seasonal league, maybe stash him before week 1, see what happens. I'm taking Indianapolis. I don't think the final score is going to be within 12 points.
Yeah, I don't love the recent moves. I mean, there's an exodus of talent from Jacksonville. I'm with you. I usually don't like to take more than a touchdown, or give more than a touchdown, I should say. But I think this game is Indianapolis running away with it. I think it's a 2-score game. So there you go.